Once upon a time, no really, that's how it started, stories were told not just to entertain but to warn, teach and sometimes to scare people into behaving. Fairy tales are as old as language itself, whispered around firelight, passed from mouth to mouth, generation to generation. But the fairy tales, you know, they've had quite the journey. Let's untangle their wild, weird history and see how they've shaped the way we tell stories today. The earliest fairy tales weren't written down at all. They were folk tales, oral traditions stitched together from local legends, superstitions, and the everyday struggles of ordinary people. Think of stories like Cinderella. Versions of her story pop up everywhere, from ancient China to medieval Europe. The glass slipper, that's a later detail. Earlier versions featured golden shoes, or sometimes, seriously, a missing fur boot. Then, in the 17th and 18th centuries, something changed. People like Charles Perrault and the Brothers Grimm started to collect and publish these tales. But don't be fooled by the Grimm label. These weren't always kid-friendly. Original versions were dark, bloody, and full of harsh lessons. Little Red Riding Hood, for example, sometimes didn't make it out alive. Why all the grim endings? For most of history, fairy tales were for everyone, not just children. They served as warnings. Don't stray from the path, don't trust strangers, don't wish for things you don't understand. But as ideas about childhood changed in the 19th century, so did the stories. They were softened, sanitized, and sprinkled with a little bit of Disney magic. Suddenly, fairy tales became bedtime stories, full of hope and happy endings. But here's the twist. Fairy tales never really stopped evolving. They got remixed, retold, and turned upside down. Writers like Hans Christian Andersen added their own flair. Think The Little Mermaid or The Ugly Duckling. In the 20th century, Disney took center stage, giving us the versions that stick in our heads today, cheerful, catchy, and a little bit sanitized. And yet, fairy tales are everywhere. Modern movies, TV shows, even video games borrow their bones. Just look at stories like Shrek, Once Upon a Time, or even Game of Thrones. The echoes are unmistakable. So why do these stories last? Maybe it's because they tap into something deep, our fears, our dreams, the lessons we pass down. They remind us that monsters can be beaten, that kindness matters, and that a little bit of magic is always possible. Fairy tales aren't just old stories. They're the blueprint for the stories we still tell. And honestly, who doesn't need a little happily ever after now and then?